formally launched. I thank you.
I think indeed we must pay compliments to what Paul Adumochi has done. Many of us have many experiences and all, but hardly will we have the time to put together our experiences, chronicle them in the form of a book. So indeed, this work for me is very important, very significant, and I recommend it to many people in the country.
It's important that we learn to script right for the records. And I think what our brother Paul has done is to be able to put his thoughts into writing, his recollection of history into writing, and his own opinions into writing, packaged and presented in this book. I believe, having worked with him for over 2 decades, that every element of the content of this book will stand the test of time.
Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum. Habemus papam. Eminentissimum ac reverendissimum Dominum. Dominum Robertum Franciscum Sancte Romane Ecclesiae Cardinalem Prevost, qui sibi nomen imposuit Leonem 14.
I am truly disappointed. A+ is a brethren of mine. I don't know how to handle this, but I will handle it. I am utterly disappointed. This guy is nothing but a blackmailer. A dirty blackmailer. Jesus. So you are no longer fighting for the people, you are fighting your own battles, blackmailing people. Hi. So the decentralization of the waste management team that he was talking about, he did not mean it. He was only doing it to blackmail a certain guy who he knew will finally run back to him, pay him money, which he will selfishly push into his pocket and forget. This guy does not deserve to be an MP. Nobody deserves to be an MP, my brother, my sister, if their pension is blackmail. Paul Adu Boahene hurt you. You were angry. As a lawmaker who believes in the law, what should you do? You are in parliament to make laws for the people. You decide in somebody's business. Now the person comes to you and pays you. You are not even ashamed of taking the money. This is a bribe taker who, my brother, my sister, should be impeached immediately from parliament. I'm disappointed in A+. I'm truly disappointed. No, we can't allow this. And the agenda was not supposed to benefit the people of Ghana, but himself. He became unlawful so that he would be able to get his own back. I hope you know what that means. I am most disappointed. In fact, I am so disappointed. I'm waiting for the day that I'll be told that it is a fake publication, it's not true, and that A+ didn't say this. Then I'll say, yes, bro, I knew you would not say this. Mahama took 5.1 million of stolen money. So insert it there. 5.1 M of, he said that, of stolen money. These of stolen money. Who is Adu Boahene? You know him? Kabena Adu Boahene. He is the one in the center of the melee. The caboodle. This is the guy. Right now he's heavily bearded. He has dropped a bomb. His lawyer, Atachia, is saying that if they dare prosecute this man, he's going to release a lot of security information that would be a danger to the state. In other words, prosecuting this guy has security. That's what he has said. Let's get the details of the story. Now watch this. What is he truly saying? Bring me the story. Quick. Drop. Adu Boahene saga. Sami Gyamfi reacts to alleged payments. Equipment supply to NDC. And this is Sami Gyamfi sitting there. The story says that this guy called Adu Boahene said he gave 5.1 million Ghana cedis to John Dramani Mahamat's government. And they used the money to buy 3 cars. He specified which cars they were. When Mahama was in power, he mentioned other names. Now Sami Gyamfi, who is the NDC National Communications Officer, my brother, my sister, is reacting to this. Run it, my youth, from Ghana World. It says the National Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Sami Gyamfi, has described as impossible claims that his party received monetary and equipment support from the National Signals. His party received monetary and equipment support from the National Signals election. Concerns have been raised over the expenditure. And these are deemed questionable by critics. In response to the criticisms, the convener of the Fix the Country movement, Oliver Barker-Vormawor, posed an open question to the NDC, demanding the party's reaction to the allegations' veracity. Simple question for the NDC to answer by tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Did you receive any equipment from national security ahead of the 2024 elections? Yes or no? The activist posted on his Facebook page. In response, Sami Gyamfi, who also serves as the acting chief executive officer of Ghana Gold Board, officer, it is unreasonable to suggest that the erstwhile New Patriotic Party government will resource the NDC to win an election. How is that even possible, my brother? How could the Kandapar-led National Security Ministry or Secretariat of the NPP government be so foolish as to buy equipment for the opposition NDC to oust their own government? He questioned under Barker-Vormawor's post. Kabena Adu Boahene, the former NSB Director General, was arrested on March 20, 2025 at the Kotoka International Airport upon his return from abroad. The Attorney General Dominic Akuritinga Ayini explained that Adu Boahene is being investigated for embezzling state funds, including misappropriating funds from a 7 million, also accused of.
I am utterly disappointed. This guy is nothing but a blackmailer. A dirty blackmailer. Jesus. So you are no longer fighting for the people, you are fighting your own battles, blackmailing people. Hi. So the decentralization of the waste management team that he was talking about, he did not mean it. He was only doing it to blackmail a certain guy who he knew will finally run back to him, pay him money, which he will selfishly push into his pocket and forget. You are blackmailing people so that you will get a certain attention. This guy does not deserve to be an MP. Nobody deserves to be an MP, my brother, my sister. Angry. Now the person comes to you and pays you. You are not even ashamed of taking the money. This is a bribe taker who, my brother, my sister, should be impeached immediately from Parliament. I'm disappointed in A+. I'm truly disappointed. No, we can't allow this. If an MP, my brother, my sister, can tell you that he was on a certain agenda, and the agenda was not supposed to benefit the people of Ghana, but himself, he became unlawful so that he would be able to get his own back. I hope you know what that means. I am most disappointed. In fact, I am so disappointed. Maybe I need to write to the Speaker of Parliament and draw his attention to this publication. I'm waiting for the day that I'll be told that it is a fake publication, it's not true, and that A+ didn't say this. Then I'll say, yes, bro, I knew you would not say this.
Catholics all over the world are very excited. Catholics all over the world are very excited today that we have a new Pope. And may the Pope who died, Pope Francis, rest in eternal peace. For people of my generation, every generation has their favorite Pope. But for many generations, the Pope that was really, really favorite, lasted for a long time, was Pope John Paul II. And he has now been given a sainthood. And so he's Saint John Paul. Now we have a new Pope. Now we have a new Father. Habib, all glory to the new Pope. All right. 22 minutes to the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. Let me just go on to the touch screen now. And let's begin our agenda exploration. Okay. So classified is what is on the screen. And I'm going to share that information with you. Is what is on the screen. And I'm going to share that information with you, viewers, tonight. I've been doing a lot of digging, not just me, all of us in the team have been doing a lot of digging, not just me, all of us in the team have been doing a lot of digging on all of these security issues. And we are learning a few things that we would like to share with you. So, and this is about you. So, and this is about the Kabena Adu Boahene story. TV3 document has absolutely nothing to do with TV3. That's why it's classified. Its classification with TV3. That's why it's classified. Its classification is TV3. It's TV3. But there may be some people who would know, a few people actually, who get to know what it really means. Sometimes, even in their briefing to the President of the Republic, the national security actors, the principle they in their context, they feel that Paul Adu Boahene has applied for a scholarship in Harvard. He didn't get the scholarship. The Harvard school fees is X thousands of cedis, and they think that it is in national security interest to have this Paul Adu Boahene guy go to Harvard. That it is in national security interest to have this Paul Adu Boahene guy go to Harvard for 1 year. National security goes behind and facilitates the process. Sometimes Paul Adu Boahene knows, sometimes he doesn't know. And then they will use money to facilitate the process. They will open a file, they will open a channel for that operation. They will call the thing in the classification, they will classify it as operationalpha.com. OperationAlpha.com, the National Security Coordinator, the other important people would know that OperationAlpha.com was to facilitate AlphaOperation.com is X number of thousands. So if I'm investigating years later and I'm looking at the bank account and I look at National Security took money from here and they call something Alpha.com and they spent thousands of money. What is Alpha.com? What Amansia is? It was the facilitation of the minority leaders' participation in the Ghana-China member for Constitution and Legal Affairs to participate in a training in Oxford that was training MPs about how to do subsidiary legislation. So National attend this event. So they take money and send it to Parliament and they'll write it reforestation in Amansia East, 100 and something thousand Ghana cedis. So if you look at that and you see reforestation in Amansia East, that is only the classification. Basically, it means in very basic language that is untrue. National security are always using classification to dissuade people who may come into contact with the information one way or the other from them not knowing what national security is doing. That's what we have been told. And that's what happens in every country. And that's what happens in every national security contest. So tonight we are trying to break it down. We are not saying somebody is right, somebody is wrong. But we are trying to tell you where Kabena Adu Boahene is coming from. And he and his team, his lawyers, where they are coming from. So that is why we often hear, and producer, thank you for stopping me. I was going to go on and on. This my guy is very good, yeah? He sees that I've made the point, so we should move on. So he's changed the background. And that means CIA documents. They say the CIA declassified documents. When it is declassified, you can read it. You and I can read it. So this is an example of a declassified document from the United States of America, 11th March 1966, Intelligence Memorandum, the new regime in Ghana, Directorate of Intelligence. There's something in there? Okay. Then there's another one, the secret, Central Intelligence Agency, Director of Intelligence, 11th March 1966, Intelligence Memorandum, the new regime in Ghana. Now, this is the declassified. It's declassified, so you can see it. But when it was not declassified, it was not written like this. It may have been written in any way, but because they know what is the actual, the bosses, not just them, they and some important people, they all know what is the actual and what is the classification. So the classification is not the actual. So America says, we have now, after 30 years, they have a certain period within which they declassify. We have declassified the document. This is the document. But this document here was not seen like that in 1966, 67, 68, 70-something, 80-something. It's only in the 2000s that they said declassified. You can read it. So the declassified document says that after years of steady leftward movement under Nkrumah, the political pendulum in Ghana has suddenly veered sharply to the right. Within a matter of hours on 24th February, long dissatisfied senior army and police officers toppled the Osajifos authoritarian, Marxist-oriented power structure and set Ghana on a fundamentally different course. In terms of the country's foreign affairs, this has already resulted in a dramatic curtailment of the old regime's extensive involvement with the communist world and brought other changes having the effect of putting Ghana in line with moderate African states. Ghana had been the most dependable African base of operations for the communist world. Internally, the intentions, at least for the present, apparently, is to reconstruct the body politic within a framework in overwhelming popular approval. 2. At this early date, however, it cannot be considered certain that Ghana will make orderly progress along the altered course. The new regime appears to have taken hold quickly and effectively, but it is still very much in its initial shakedown phase, and lines of real authority and influence are inherited from the Nkrumah era, etc., etc., etc. So this is declassified documents. Declassified. So when you are looking at a security document and it is classified in a certain way, it has a classification. The classification is not correct. It's not true. You have to go to the national security people and ask them that what is the declassification. Viewers, I'd like us to look at this photograph here as we explained it. It's a very serious national security matter, and I'm very concerned. I'll be telling you a story in which I was personally involved relating to when I say I'm personally involved, I see that people are getting excited. Yes, I was personally involved relating to the supplying the opposition with equipment for election coverage. I'll tell you that story. But before then, let's look at this photograph, viewers. Please indulge me. Brofo surgeon. I wanted also the ABB4 surgeon. If you look at this photograph here, you will see that they are having an operation. I don't understand it. I have absolutely no training in this. Some of you don't have any training in this. Now, for those of us who don't have any training in this, looking at this photograph is completely meaningless to us, because this comes to us like a classification. But a surgeon can look at this photograph and say, this is the beginning of the surgery. This is the end of the surgery. This is the middle of the surgery. The way everybody's head is bowed means that they are about to take knife X. They are about to take knife Y. It is the person who understands it, who is looking at it, who can tell us what it is. I just see that they're having surgery. I see some light up there. I think the light is even beautiful. But for a surgeon, may look at it and say, there was too much light. There was little light. There was that. There was that. So this is an example of how, when we approach classified documents, as media, as everybody, we need to look at it. If it's classified, we have to secure the declassification, and then it will tell us what it means. So with that, let's now go to the letter. One of the big stories, cases against Kabena Adu Boahene is that, maybe we start a new one, my lady, we start a new one. One of the big cases against Kabena Adu Boahene is that he had opened accounts. So he has a National Signals Bureau account. Then he opens another account, which is personal to him. Then he moves money from his account into the National Signals Bureau account. That's the allegation against him. Ladies and gentlemen and viewers, here is a letter of 8th October 2018. It is written to the Chief Executive, Advantage Solutions Limited, East Legon, Accra. Attention, Miss Angela Ejay Boateng. Now, who is Angela Ejay Boateng? Angela Ejay Boateng is the same said wife of Kabena Adu Boahene. And this is a letter from on the National Security letterhead. Let's see what the letter says. Okay. It says as follows. Okay. It starts from here. It says, following discussions held with the Universal Merchant Bank, UMB, and subsequent agreements reached on statutory documentation required for account opening, your kind assistance is sought and approval is hereby given to open and operate special operations accounts in the name of the BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to which the Director of Government Communications Headquarters must be signatory for special operations under the Integrated National Security Communications Enhancement Network, Alpha Project. So you see, we are beginning to see the classification. They are calling the project Alpha. The project is Integrated National Security Communications Enhancement Network, Alpha Project. Point 2. Kindly note that the Alpha Project is tax exempt as approved by Parliament of Ghana, and the Director of the Communications Headquarters shall account to the National Security Coordinator on the operation of the accounts. 3. Your kind cooperation and willingness to assist in this matter is greatly appreciated. Warm regards. Signed, Joshua Chireme, National Security Coordinator. CC Director. So the account that we have been talking about, that account, that every journalist is worried about, why did he open an account in his own name? This is the letter of 8th October 2018, which undergird the purpose of opening that account and clothes this with all legality because it is authorized by Joshua Chireme, who signed it, who is the National Security Coordinator. There are some minutes here. As a PA is minuted to. So he's telling the wife of Kabena Adu Boahene, and in one of the documents, as I'll be showing you, Kabena Adu Boahene talked about how their relatives sometimes are used as national security operatives. So they go through a process, they go through polygraph tests and all of that, and then they become national security conduits for national security to do certain things, but they need a trusted agent. That's the difficulty of the story we are dealing with, viewers. And I really wish that we don't have this discussion in the media, that at least it can be held in court, in camera, or somewhere. These are matters that are concerning to national security. And it's very, 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 very delicate. So it's really worrying, something that ought to be a critical national security matter. I don't understand why our politics is getting this way, that we are so NDC and MPP that Ghana must suffer, Ghana must die. We are all NDC and MPP, but in the middle, in the front, is the red, gold, green. We should remember that. At the basic minimum, we should remember that. It is the red, gold, green that gives us electoral victories. It's the red, gold, green that gives us a parliament of 276. It's the red, gold, green that gives us a judiciary. It is very important. Why do we railroad politics in a way that is down? These are even people who are NDC, lawyers who are NDC, go to social media. They are complaining that, but did our people know everything? Is it true? Is what is happening true? Anyway, so this is the letter that will come to the next one. So let's get back to the letter. So this is the letter that was written by Joshua Chireme. So the National Security Coordinator, and he said it in the letter, he said that the operations shall report and they shall account to the National Security Coordinator on the operation of the accounts. So the account is created on the authority of the National Security Coordinator. It's a private account in UMB. And he says that, Angela, open that account. Angela Boati, open that account. The co-signatory will be Kabena Adu Boahene, your husband, who is there. But the account shall be operated and accounted to the National Security Coordinator. The National Security Coordinator is the one who runs the national security apparatus. So there is a National Security Coordinator today. He must have an idea about some of these things. And even if they are prosecuting people within national security, the National Security Coordinator must be the one supplying the information. I'm not sure how it works, but it would appear so. That if you are prosecuting the Minister for Roads and there's something that has been done at Roads that was very wrong and for which reason you are prosecuting the minister, it is the current minister who is the complainant. When the governments come to power, the Attorney General is waiting for the ministers to inherit what they inherit, see whether they are anomalies, send the anomalies to state agencies, CID, YOCO, everywhere for them to investigate, and then it comes to the Attorney General. So we don't know whether the national security apparatus of today are part of this process, and what they have to say about this. And that's why the letters from Kabena Adu Boahene was written to the National Security Coordinator, not even to the prosecution. Let me add one more thing before I end this segment. We understand, and all the media people with deep throats understand, that there is a meeting that is being converged at about this afternoon or tomorrow, where national security operatives, high profile, of the past and of the present, are hoping to meet the president, the commander-in-chief, and share with him their thoughts on these processes. We understand that that's happening, and that may have a significant impact on the trial of Kabena Adu Boahene. But we will give you that information when it happens, that they are going to meet the president. Some are from his party, some are from the other party. All of them security bosses looking around and thinking that, this one is tough. We need to go and sit with the president because they don't like this media thing. Nobody who has had a confidential National Signals Bureau, it's a memorandum the National Security Coordinator, and it is copied to the National Security Advisor, the Director General, NSB, National Signals Bureau, and it's from Kabena Adu Boahene. It's May 5, and the subject is urgent matters relating to special operation activity and funding. And Kabena Adu Boahene writes, to the National Security Coordinator, National Security Advisor, and the Director General, National Signals Bureau, The subject is matters arising. He goes on. Your kind attention is drawn to certain developments that have arisen following our unsuccessful attempts to meet due to scheduling conflicts within Yoko cells. The Attorney General of the Republic has been very vocal in a number of press briefings where he brands my wife and I as criminals and alludes to transactions between a certain national BNC account and a private BNC account purportedly owned by us. He goes on, I cannot tell where the AG gets his theory in your special services account, special operations account, coordinated account, and SPV account, BNC Communications Bureau. SPV means special purpose vehicle, by the way. Duly authorized and created for the national security exigencies of the time, and for which my wife, duly vetted, he says, and the UMB. Attorney General attempts to link unrelated transfers, withdrawals, and refunds for special operations with assets we do not own and a few we own, which mostly predated 2020 transaction he raised. A cursory look at the part of anyone will reveal these facts. I am also disturbed on these lies to amplify the matter and bring prominence to this malicious agenda against not just our persons, but the national security as well. As this ridiculous drama unfolds, some 49 million Ghana cedis of special operations funds have now become the subject of court action, where my wife and I, as well as other affiliates, are being accused with charges including stealing and causing financial loss to the state. I have tried to withhold classified information from my interrogators, but I deem it prudent to inform your good office that in the light of the current development, we run the risk of public disclosure of the following national security and intelligence operations expenditure items. Boom! Then he drops the bullet. Description: Special Operations Funds, Tyros Scorpion, IECN1, IECN2 Hive. Viewers, so we are getting it, isn't it? If you look on your screen now, you can see it. So let's keep it on the screen like that. So the description, viewers, is the classification. So you see description 1, Special Operations, Tyros. Tyros is somebody's star. Scorpion is somebody's star. IACN1, IACN2, it's not, is it Michaelasian the army? I don't know. But they say IACN1, IACN2 Hive. That's a classification. What does it mean? Reported amount, 9.5 million Ghana cedis, year 2020. Then justification, special operations, part payments towards special cyber and electronic surveillance solutions received by ISC Holdings. Okay. Let's come to the next one. The counter-terrorism operation, 6.9 million. Okay, what did it do? Stability of nation counter-terrorism extremism. I'm guessing that was the rescue of the Canada girls in Kumasi or something. I don't know. Okay, received by various personnel and activities. Okay, next one. And this is what the Kabena Adu Boahene believes, that he's being prosecuted for that. He should show how this money was used. Next one, Operation Calm Life, anti-kidnapping violent crime. Okay, this is a kidnapping. 3.7 million. Stability of nation, counter violent crimes. Okay. Parliamentary enactment. Okay, that one is there, clear. Parliamentary enactment of NSB Act 2020. 960,000 Ghana cedis. MP's allowance, Defense and Interior Committee. Next, parliamentary special payment of NSB LI. That is 309,000. MP's allowance, Defense and Interior Committee. Let's move on and see what else is there. Elections, special ops, allowance and logistics, 7.2 million. Paid. Can you put it on so they can see? Yes, 7.2 million. That was paid in December 2024. Stability of nation, peaceful polling. The money was received by various personnel and activities. So they are asking Kabena Adu Boahene that this is your 7.2 million. Who and whom did you pay it to for the national stability? Do we want him to mention the names of the people he paid it to? Well, okay. Number 7, again, elections operations, allowance and logistics, 6.7 million, December 2024. stability of nation, peaceful polling, various personnel and activities. Okay, number 8, election special ops, support for party communication equipment for election results coalition, 8.3 million. September 2024, stability of nation, national cohesion, political impartiality, various. Who did he pay to is written classified. Let me read that again because I would like to say something about that. Elections, special operations, support for party communication equipment, and then stability of nation classified. Let me say something about this, and it's very interesting, and I've told this story to some people, you know. When we were on the NCA, when I had the opportunity to sit on the NCA board, Joe Anoche was the Director General, and Kweku Sechiado was the chairman. One time after lunch, we were having a conversation. This was 2018. And I was asking, so I always wanted to understand, you know, I considered Joe Anoche as a hero, given what he had done in 2016, putting the results together and all of that. So I really like to talk to him and understand how his brain works. Fantastic guy. I mean, if we have lost him to the NCA, it's a very good brain. We shouldn't have lost. But politics comes in, and Anoche is fantastic. So I used to talk to Joe about, you know, this is your election thing you did. How is it going to work? Then he told me that, look, let me tell you, he doesn't think that the NDC are ready for the 2020 election because we are in 2018. This was around end of 2018. We are in 2018, and the system takes at least 2 years to develop. So if they don't have it now, he doesn't think they have it, they don't have it for 2020. Me, being a natural Democrat, and what word did Kabena Adu Boahene use? Political impartiality, yes. Cohesion and impartiality. I asked Joe that, but how much does it cost? He said, hey, it cost a lot of money. That in 2016, MPP spent millions of euros to do it. So we're all talking there, and I said, but this one, why don't we just do it for everybody? He said, what do you mean? I said, why doesn't the state? And you know, I had been part of the, sorry, I'm going back and forth, but let me tell you this. I had been part of the process in 2000, when there was this big conversation about state funding of political parties. When the Fiat Capengola, or do they call that car? When the Fiat was given by Electoral Commission shared Fiat for all political parties. In fact, the day Rekubrobe was going for his own, he insisted that I go with him. It was the United Ghana Movement Party. I was a member of that party, United Ghana Movement, you know. And I love the party because Rekubrobe said it is growing people for Ghana's development. And they're going for diamond, but they are going to grow the human beings for the future of Ghana. I thought that was great. Growing people for Ghana's development. Rekubrobe, wherever you are, God bless you, and I hope you are watching this program. So I remember that conversation, that it was pushed largely, I think, by the IEA, that the state should fund certain fundamentals of all political parties. So we have not equal playing since before. The Electoral Commissioner is not important in the equation. The Electoral Commissioner of the United States of America, he's not important in the election conversation. He's not. Have you ever heard of Electoral Commissioner in America before? But he's there. He delivers the results sometime about 6 weeks after the election. He comes to do a press conference that nobody is paying attention. Because they have the system that the Republicans have, the Democrats have, the media have. So I was telling Joe Anoche that why don't we spend money as government to set up a campaign, a resource receiving system for MPP, set up resource receiving system for NDC, and set up another one for the Ghana Journalists Association. I even discussed with June 4. He'll tell you. I discussed with him this. Set up one for the GJA so that Joy FM, City FM, Metro TV don't need to pay money. Every election season we have to have meetings and try and raise money from all our sponsors. We don't need to spend, Joy FM doesn't have to spend money to get election results because Joy FM spends a lot of money. Other people spend a lot of money. City FM spends a lot of money. So we don't need that. So if we can have a constituency, MPP 64, polling station, NDC 32, that result goes to MPP, that result goes to NDC, that result goes to the GJA. So journalists go to the GJA, whatever GJA has is what MPP have, is what NDC have. Electoral Commission too has it, but we don't care about them yet. We are dealing with the key actors. The state has the same thing we all have, except the results have not been inputted from SEQUA. If in SEQUA they have not imputed the results yet, then we will all not see it. If in my hometown, Kwamo, in the Juso area, Juso constituency, the results have not been inputted in Kwamo, then I can call my constituency chairman and say, now I couldn't say start jubilating. People around me say, why are you jubilating? I say, yeah, we have it. But as soon as he imputes it in Kwamo, everybody sees it. That's all. And I muted this at the NCA that let's just do it. What's the problem? What do we lose? It will be there for NDC forever. When you have to service it, government pays for the service. You know, IT things, you have to build them. So when election is coming, there's no need to panic. There's no need to worry. Electoral Commission, throw them out so that we don't now come and say, and I let every regime. We hear that the Electoral Commissioner is biased. The Electoral Commission's bias has never won anybody an election. Every year, Electoral Commission and opposition parties have made it their mantra. As soon as the thing starts, they are fighting the Electoral Commission. Then they win the election. Then they keep quiet. Then another opposition comes, they are fighting. The Afarijan knows this more than anybody else. So let's get the Electoral Commission out of the equation by knowing that results are coming to everyone. And media houses need not spend significant amount of money that they don't have. Money that they should be using to pay journalists. They are spending that money on election coverage and spending it on IT people. The state should spend that money in favor of democracy. The state. And producer, I hope that you are capturing this separately out of the Adu Boahene conversation. This is a TV thing for the election coverage. That's different. So the state should really pay that. And I'm very passionate about this point. And those who have to support me, frankly, Kujo, are you here? The state must pay for the results collation of all relevant political parties and the Ghana Journalists Association. The state must pay for it. So if it will cost 100 million, the state should pay for it. GJA, set up your system. Every results are imputed in any polling station. It will show up on there. And if you look at Joe Anoche's thing, it's very beautiful. When the results are coming from the polling station, the system will tell you that it is 30% declared, 40% declared, 60% left. Then we go and do the analysis. The areas left are more NDC than MPP because MPP is more likely to win. We can do all of that in the various media houses. Absolutely the same. So this is a good idea for Ghana, but it's not easy to push these ideas in the environment that we have when you are talking about money. But the state is going to spend the money equally. NDC will have one. What is the criteria for a political party to have or not to have? A political party more than 10% of the votes in the last election is a relevant political party. So if you're a political party and you won more than 10% of the votes in the last election, you are entitled to benefit that from the state. Okay, I leave it there. That file has ended, so you just take it out. So that's why I'm concerned about the item 8. Special elections operation. 8.3 million was paid for stability of nation, national cohesion, political impartiality. I love that. I love that. Political impartiality. Who was the money paid to? Classified. All right. Election special ops, logistics, vehicles. 2024 Nissan Patrol Platinum, 2024 Nissan Patrol Platinum, 2022 Land Cruiser JXR, price 5 million, December 2024. It was given to for stability of nation, national aid to the president-elect. Asemaba. Special aid to the president-elect. Is there any problem with this? If you ask me, I don't find any problem with that. I don't find any problem with it. Because it's a national security, high-profile individual. Because we don't want anything to happen to the president-elect, around the president-elect, between the time he has won the elections and 7 January of the next year. So as soon as the elections are won, he becomes a national security product. Tell the story. But when Akufo-Addo won the elections, I'll tell you, and Abu Jinapor knows the story. So the election was declared around the 10th. I think it's the same day of the declaration. They got down, and we were confused about what is happening. But the president-elect was not confused, so we thought that he understands what's happening. He seemed to be looking for a file. I think he understood, or I think they phoned him that they were coming. So he was looking for his documents and trying to clear the place, something like that. Then they came, everybody get out. They were quite harsh. Everybody move out. Apietu came there, saluted him. Your Excellency, you are now the president-elect. This was his words. You are now the president-elect of Ghana, declared by the Electoral Commissioner. Congratulations. Then he nodded, he said, yeah. Then he saluted him again. Then he said, policemen should take over. Everybody leave the room. So I asked the policeman, but what's the meaning of this? He said, he's now a national asset. He's the property of Ghana. So all of you clear off. We are taking him out for a meeting. We'll bring him back. And then they drove the president-elect out. A huge police convoy. Big one. They drove him out. I don't know where they went. I don't know. I left, and later on, I was told that he came back after a few hours. But that's what it is. When somebody becomes president-elect, it is more sensitive than when he's president. Because when he's president-elect, and he's also not the same person who is the president, and there's another president, then you need to keep an eye on the president-elect. So here is the operation. Election operation logistics, vehicles. 2024 Nissan Patrol, Platinum. 2024 Nissan Patrol, Titanium. 2022 Land Cruiser, GXR. The total amount of money that it cost the taxpayer was 5.1 million Ghana cedis. And that was for the stability of nation, national cohesion, political impartiality, and it was paid to special aid to the president-elect. How did they know who is the special aid to the president-elect? They must have written to the president-elect, and he told them that this is my special aid. And they said, okay, here's the car. The special aids to the president-elect, they are alive, they are there. Joyce Bauer, Stanislav Dogbe, Felix Kwachiofosu, they are there. They should come and tell us that nobody received any vehicle as according to what Kabena Adu Boahene is saying. Or that they received the vehicles, but they didn't receive it from Kabena Adu Boahene. Or that this, or that, or that. Because we don't want these things coming up in court where the whole Ghana is now looking at it and saying, in fact, I'm very worried for them. And you know, I'm very pro. You people, in the 2024 Nissan, we did the work, and you people, because you say that you are special aid, it's going to start. And it's unhealthy for the stability of the government and the stability of the nation. This is unhealthy. So it's not something that should be discussed on media in the public domain. But as Michelle Obama said, it is what it is. Because here we are, prosecutors are lining up in the streets of public opinion and shouting on top of roofs that somebody is a thief, that somebody has stolen, somebody and his wife are thieves. So if you push a man that way, what do you expect? He's also coming to come and say that I'm a thief. When you took the car, you didn't know where the money was coming from. When you took this, you didn't know. I didn't do it for you. I didn't do it for me. I did it because of stability of the nation, national cohesion, and political impartiality. And I did it on the authority of my boss. National security is a state agency. They are appointed by the government, but they are a state agency. They are really not partial to the... If national security goes to the government today and says that, Mr. President, we need to pay Paul Adumochiri some money. They say, why? I say, wait. He has applied for a course at London School of Economics. If he goes to study that course, he will get some sense. He will stop the thing he's doing. Everybody who goes to study that course, we have seen that he has applied because we are looking at his email. We have seen that they've responded to him and he's responded to them that he doesn't have the money for it. How do we do it? He said, but Paul, who is his friend among us? He said, his friend among us is Mr. This your minister is his friend. He said, minister, come. Call Paul and ask him how is he doing, and then tell him that you have some gift for him. And then when he comes, he may tell you about his LSC. If he doesn't, let us know. So Mr. said, I don't know why you there. Come to my office. Ask him. It happens all the time. There are deeper information that are going to come out of lawyers who are sympathetic with the NDC, who are in authority today, who are giving jobs by institutions of state within the MPP because national security directed that if you have legal work, give it to this lawyer. We want to see something. Give it to him. Let's see what happens. It has happened. And if they push Kabena Adu Boahene, he will come and say it. And their names will be on the screen. And everybody will read their names. So that Mercedes you bought when you got that case from that state enterprise agency, it was because national security was trying to understand this and that and that and that about the work of the opposition. Because as they put it here, stability of nation, national cohesion, and political impartiality. Political parties will go and come. Ghana will be there. So national security is always interested in keeping the stability. There's a big conversation about, okay, so national security, do they benefit from some of the money as individuals? I don't know whether they do. But if they do, you may not be able to identify it as a crime because they do a lot of risky work. They run to go and chase people who have been kidnapped. They can be killed. I have seen videos of Kabena Adu Boahene, and I'll be showing them later. Kabena Adu Boahene in a hole with the kidnapped Canada girls. I've seen the video. You see him, you see his face, and you see he's the one filming. And he was making a video call to his boss and telling his boss that we found them. And there's a celebration in the video. And if you look at his face, he doesn't look, well, you can see this is Kabena Adu Boahene, but you see how wretched he's appearing and the gadgets that are on his body. He himself physically went to hold the hand of the girls and took them out. The Canadian girls that were blackmailed, that were kidnapped. I've seen the video. How much money was spent on that operation? A lot of money. How was it classified? I don't know. They classified as something. When it is declassified, we will get all the information that Kabena Adu Boahene took 2 million cedis to the Ashanti region. He paid this person that so that he gets access to here. Paid this person so he gets access to here. He hired 16 taxis and put 16 people in and sent them to a certain place. Paid them. And then he arrived and then he grabbed the girls, called his boss that we have it. It is about the name of Ghana. It's about the safety of people coming to Ghana. It's about the huge millions of dollars that we can lose in tourism. It's about Ghana's name going into the Google and having a bad image. All that is saved by that money. So the risk that they take, yes, they may be rewarded. But this is the way they operate. Human Security Ops generators, 520,000. Human Security Intervention, National Security Coordinator was the one who received it. National Security Coordinator was giving 520,000 for something called Human Security Ops generators. I don't know. That's a classification. I don't know what it means. And it is for Human Security Intervention, and that's how it was. The letter continues. He says, I give you my highest assurance that Angela, that's his wife, and I will never steal public funds as is being deliberately and wickedly portrayed by the Attorney General. In any case, how does one steal public funds in the manner being described by the Attorney General without being flagged by the Auditor General? Further, I give you my highest assurances that Angela and I would never take what does not belong to us. Even if privately arranged, we are full of content with the modest blessing God has given us. What is evidently clear is that the Iyoko boss, Raymond Asha, is deliberately misrepresenting or distorting the facts to the authorities, and in the process causing unnecessary sensation that could embarrass the government and national security. I am craving your urgent intervention to avert it before it becomes too late. My best regards from Iyoko Cells, Kabena Adu Boahene. Wow. 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 Hey, Sami. What shall we do about these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? That's what Apostle Paul said. He said, it's in Romans 11. He says, what shall we do about these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Professor Buzia said something that somebody sent to me today. He said, Kofi Abrefa Buzia, Prime Minister of Ghana, October 1969. He says, if you enter politics and ask me what qualification is needed for a politician in this country today, I would say to you, you will not make a success of it unless you have a large capacity to stomach nonsense. You must not think that the more you give, he says, you must not think that the more you give, the more loyalty and gratitude you will get. You won't. It's interesting, no? Politicians, are you listening? He said, you must not think that the more you give, the more loyalty and gratitude you will get. You won't. Anyone who enters public life must know that he is going into a place where a strange master called opinion is the most unkind of all masters. You will be made to do things you have not done. You will be made a thief, a murderer, a miser, or anything. If you are going into politics, you must be prepared to be wounded. In 69, the victory wasn't like this. In 69, fast forward it to 2025. And it is far more relevant with heat than it was then. But let's save our country. Young people, let's save our country. Let's prove Buzia wrong. Tim Forger also comes to speak about this process and says that Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpa, MP for South Dai and Majority NDC Chief Whip in Parliament, was the Vice Chairman of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation at the time Adu Boahene allegedly paid $360,000 to the committee for personal and ally. Is it not fair that a transparent probe is conducted for Honorable Dafemako to appear and answer questions to confirm or deny the serious allegations leveled against his committee. When the probe begins, NDC and every other person indicted will take their turns to explain how much of the 49 million, he used the word they looted, but I don't agree with that. I don't think they looted it. Anyway, 49 million that they got. The probe is necessary and cannot be evaded. They should therefore get ready with their responses. That's Honorable Intim Fojo speaking. He said they should get ready with their responses. Parliament opens on the 13th of May, I hear, or is it soon? Or is it later than that? There's a lot for Parliament to look at. There's a whole lot for Parliament to look at. A whole lot for Parliament to look at when they resume, including Black Rasta. Get the Black Rasta video ready as I come to that before we go to the text messages. Martin Pebu says, Adu Boahene's revelations paint Mohammed's government black. Does it? I don't think it does. Private legal practitioner Martin Pebu has expressed concern over how the revelations made by former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kabena Adu Boahene, cast a negative light on the ruling government. Kabena Adu Boahene, who is currently on remand in the custody of Economic and Organized Crime, the IOCO, revealed confidential information contained in a memo suggesting the allocation and utilization of funds he is accused of embezzling during his tenure as Director General of the National Signals Bureau went into some sectors of government. The memo, which provides a detailed breakdown of the funds allocations, indicates that over 8 million was allegedly used to finance an opposition political party, while an additional 960 million was reported on the Signals Bureau Act, among other payments made for some special operations. Additionally, the memo revealed that an amount of 5.1 million was allocated for the purchase of vehicles intended for special aid to the president-elect. Responding to the claims, Pebu stated that the allegations made by the former NSB boss, which appeared to implicate elements of the ruling government, raises serious questions about government's own involvement, especially given its strong stance on accountability and its commitment to corruption fight and the prosecution of former appointees for similar offenses. It's also the case that with these revelations, it paints the government black, because that is like, why did you take money as opposition party for election monitoring and then vehicles and all those things? I mean, it does color the case, he said on TV3 on May 8th. The lawyer, however, claimed that the revelations made by Adu Boahene do not serve as a defense against the charges he is currently facing in court. Okay, fair enough. So this is just sampling public opinion over it. We're going to come to you for that as well on the text message. Martin Pebu, it's been a while. I understand that they are offering you the office for the special prosecutor job. I'm sure you can do it very well. I'm sure you can do it very, very well. Oh, and by the way, Martin, you know the last time you and I had a three-way call, the guy who was on the third call, we unfortunately passed. Please, if you know his family, send my condolences to them. You know, Martin Pebu and I had a three-way call. We're actually arguing. You know me, I'm always arguing with lawyers. We're arguing. Martin Pebu said I said something about him on TV and it wasn't true. And then there was this other guy who knows something about me. So I said, put him on. So he put him on. We had a three-way call. We had an interesting conversation. We fought a little bit. At the end of the conversation, it was fine. And the guy has suddenly passed. And I'm so sorry about that. So I remember that the last time I spoke to him was when Martin Pebu put him on a three-way call. I'm referring to the Honorable Sami Gyamfi. May he rest in eternal peace. I spoke to him on Martin Pebu's phone. We had a three-way call and had some arguments about politics and all that. And then this was before the election, actually. Then I heard that he passed. Martin, so please tell the family. And let's know when the funeral arrangements are published. I'm sure that President Mahama will be there. We will all go there. Sami Gyamfi is a seasoned Ghanaian politician. He was an ambassador for our country. And he was actually listed as to be an ambassador again. A gentleman. He's a very feisty guy, very tough within. He's a cadre, but he's also a very nice diplomat. May he rest in peace. It's 27 minutes past the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. Let's go to Rasta, and then we come for the text messages.
I am truly disappointed. A+ is a brethren of mine. I don't know how to handle this, but I will handle it. I am utterly disappointed. This guy is nothing but a blackmailer. A dirty blackmailer. Jesus. So you are no longer fighting for the people. You are fighting your own battles, blackmailing people. Hi. saw the decentralization of the waste management team that he was talking about. He did not mean it. He was only doing it to blackmail a certain guy who he knew will finally run back to him, pay him money, which he will selfishly push into his pocket and forget. You are blackmailing people so that you'll get a certain attention. This guy does not deserve to be an MP. Nobody deserves to be an MP, my brother, my sister, if their pension is blackmail. Paul Adu Boahene hurt you. You were angry. As a lawmaker who believes in the law, what should you do? You are in parliament to make laws for the people. You decide to be unlawful, to go out there and fight your battle on the streets by blackmailing somebody's business. Now the person comes to you and pays you. You are not even ashamed of taking the money. This is a bribe taker who, my brother, my sister, should be impeached immediately from parliament. I'm disappointed in A+. I'm truly disappointed. No, we can't allow this. If an MP, my brother, my sister, can tell you that he was on a certain agenda, and the agenda was not supposed to benefit the people of Ghana, but himself, he became unlawful so that he would be able to get his own back. I hope you know what that means. I am most disappointed. In fact, I am so disappointed. Maybe I need to write to the Speaker of Parliament and draw his attention to this publication. I'm waiting for the day that I'll be told that it is a fake publication, it's not true, and that A+ didn't say this. Then I'll say, yes, bro, I knew you would not say this.
All right, let's take the text messages. Which should I start from? Antoinette, you first, please.
Have a lot to say about the Adu Boahene story. Mohammed Yusufu says, Paul, we need a commission of inquiry for public hearing to unravel the veracity of the revelations from Adu Boahene quickly. Mr. President should act quickly to save his government. Now, Samuel Ofosuba says, as those evidences are popping out from the camp of Mr. Adu Boahene and still in the police custody, he needs a serious protection by his counselors. Now, Chris Adu says, Paul, I think the current AG is not being tactical in the handling of this particular case. Adu Boahene is a security personnel, and where he sits, he has a lot of the security of the state. I think that the AG must be spoken to by the elder of this government, or else he may create problems for this government, because there is no way this guy would make these statements without he having supported documented evidence to support all his claims. Now, Amankoro Noah says, this AG is becoming unpopular. He gets everything wrong. For the first time in our history, we have an AG who is desirous of having a mad bat with his adversary instead of going to court. Now, Alhaji Bob Sidi says that if the NDC had known that Adu Boahene's case could come to this, they would not have touched him at all. It seems this man is showing them. Says that the councillors of Adu Boahene and his wife must be vigilant for the protection of their clients, as a classified information's tentacles are extending to some high-profile persons. The accused person's security, to me, requires a special vigilance to preserve their health.
All right, so Prince Henry says, Paul, note this Attorney General would eventually go, or must eventually go, to give the Attorney General and the NDC government some credibility, because A, like how? Safianu Adam says, good evening, Paul. Adu Boahene should come up with a list of names of all the delinquents. A reconciliation will be done to determine the exact persons the funds went to, after which each recipient would explain in court what those payments were meant for, and they better have a good explanation. Now, Felix Kabu says, Paul, I'm sad for Ghana. This Attorney General is overwhelmed by the job he has been given. If this letter is true, then Mahama needs to look at his Attorney General activities again. Very, very sad for Ghana. Now, finally, Moses Echampong says, it's sad that national security info is out for public consumption. But who caused it? It looks like the Attorney General is becoming a pot stirrer. What do you have for us, Angela?
Okay, from Yao February, he says, because of the confession of Mr. Kabena Adu Boahene is a threat to the national security, we Ghanaians support the call of Honorable Ntim Fojo for parliamentary probe. From Samuel Fosuba, he says, Paul, I beg to ask, is the class Boahene you spoke of last Tuesday? From Ifo Klenam, he says, the presentation of those cars were made public. From Kofi Owusu, he says, I believe the Attorney General should approach this matter with thoughtful consideration. It's important to stay focused on the potential impact of both actions and inactions, rather than getting sidetracked by social media trends. Taking a more measured approach could greatly benefit the country. From Daniel, he says, this Attorney General always rushes into issues. I see him causing financial loss to the state. From Banuba, he says, whenever President Mahama is in office, he is often marred by controversy, sparking debates about his true nature beyond his public persona. He says, didn't the Honorable Attorney General and Justice, Minister Dr. Dominic Ayeni, know the classification of NSSB documents? And he had the temerity and audacity to expose his ignorance of Kabena Adu Boahene on public domain because of long term, and he has lost his dignity that he fought for. Okay, over to you, Paul.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we will do the rest. We'll talk about the Pope, and then the 120-day story that I promised you is coming very shortly. This is Good Evening Ghana is live. We'll be back after the break.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. BetSaver.
Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy. But you know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soups. Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Brush your teeth. Brush 2 times a day. Brush with Kel-Kit.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel-Kit. Keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
It's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger. Chicky whiter. Chicky stronger. Yeah.
Kel-Kit. Happy smile.
Where to get polytank?
Oh, and you're fine.
Go straight.
No, I want left, right.
That's right. Ghana na ye wono. So when you do more, and ye data. Oh no! I beg, na here. Me pe polytank at all. And you think many of you to be able to buy you. Oh, food to be enjoy you kura.
Akuya bulambo kotoman. Emua.
Like that they took my eyes. Came to me and go to the distributor and you give the original polytank. Polytank. You hear the sound?
Polytank.
Papa Nankasa.
After this fufu and pepper soup, I go score goals like them the dash points.
Kivo 100% natural hot pepper. Good for your jollof, stew, soup, shito, spaghetti, and noodles. Kivo hot pepper. Moko show.
I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 100% natural hot pepper. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Cratchy, unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Ban uye denwa.
Oh, Mr. Gyamfi come and me buru ah.
Mami do buru. Ah, ni atele be ko. Bra, mumi mfani ko Dr. Ban ho. Dr. Ban no ya de. Bra, se ba ni no mpemu adwuma, sasabro slow. Dr. Ban oye.
Say ni kemi kwa na meka. Oh, no mpemu ni mdi onu na ye expect nya zanfo no. O akra eni kumasi no mpemu expect yen kan kire.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business with Cosmopolitan Health corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver.
Okay, welcome back to the last story before the weekend. What's happening this weekend? Oh, Ghana Music Awards is happening on Saturday. Hey, can we go? Please, you have tickets for Ghana Music Awards. Can we go at 11 p.m. midnight? 7 p.m. there. We can. Saturday 7 p.m. we are playing football at Jowolu. Sleep small, eat a bank small. We get to Ghana Music Awards at midnight, 1 o'clock. A Stone Boy in the thing. A Stone Boy in. Shatawale in. Or Shatawale is still suspended. Oh, but he called me. Shatawale called me and said that he's watching all the interviews we did. So if my luck shines, he will finish and call me for an interview. He called me, Shatta. You know, he calls, he says, bad man, how are you, bad man? That bad man, he says, I don't like it. But the bad man, you did, bad man. Those of us who are students of law, we like to see the review of the Supreme Court to see what the philosophical arguments will be. Johnson Asiedun Katia, the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Kesela Tuforsen, the finance minister who has brought the dollar to its lowest, Ama Kofi Boa, the minister for lands who is fighting Galamsey with all his life, the venerable vice president, Professor Jenano Pokwajiman, and the chief of staff of the vice president, Mr. Alexander Segwefia, formerly of Achimota School and also known as Allegro. These are the crackers. These are the guys, the main people. So why are we talking about them? We are talking about them because spent out his first 120 days. In terms of running as president for the next 4 years, this is the major epochal situation that President Mahama will never have the opportunity to get again. So it's gone. So as soon as that goes away, then the undertones begin for the new one. In fact, in 2005, this event I'm talking to you about was 6th January 2005. And I was standing on the forecourt of the State House as members of parliament were coming in to be sworn in. And then I walked to meet the Venerable Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who was the immediate past foreign minister and expecting to be foreign minister again. City, we had just started City. This was live on City. I asked him that tomorrow, President Kufuor will be sworn in for a second and final term. All eyes of the party are going to be on you as the next leader. What do you have to say about this? Now, in previous interviews that I had, or conversations I had with Akufo-Addo, he never wanted to deal with that question. So I was expecting the same answer from him. And then he said, well, tomorrow we have the glorious swearing in of that very distinguished Ghanaian, our president, John Agyekum Kufuor, and that will be his last and final term. We have to give him space to name his government and all of that. But he said this to me, after President Kufuor has settled down, I'm sure that everyone knows that when the party opens the nomination, I, Akufo-Addo, I'll be a candidate again. I remember that clearly. He said, I, Akufo-Addo, I'll be a candidate again. And then we sent CTFM, use the story and use the story and use the story. That meant something to me. He said, he had always ignored that question, but this is 6th January 2005. The next day was a swearing in of the president, and Parliament was coming in to be sworn in. So he had won his seat again. He was coming in to be sworn in. And I teased him. I thought he was going to push my microphone away and say, get out of this, your question. Because that has been his reaction when I asked him the question. But this time, he said that, well, President Kufuor will be sworn in for the last and final term. After that, we need to give him time to settle his government and to set out. But the time that the party opens the nomination and you get into that situation, it's always going to cross your mind. Do you have a Mani Boama here? Oh, you don't have a Mani Boama here. Okay. It's always going to cross your mind that, yeah, okay, I said a Mani Boama is a dark horse. So yeah, you keep him, I'll call for it. It's always going to cross your mind that, what about the presidency? Just maybe. What about the vice presidency? Just maybe. So Councillor Ato Forsen and his friends have already started talking to him that, listen, Ato, if you're able to become a very successful finance minister, the whole NDC campaign hinges on the success that you have achieved in the stability of the economy and in the stability of the dollar. No one is going to be more popular than you, Councillor Ato Forsen. So if that happens and you can enter the race, you beat Asiedu Nketia. After all, Asiedu Nketia, our brother Emmanuel Amakofi Boa is coming from the Western region. The Western region have never really had leadership of any political party, whether the NDC or the NPP. You can talk of Peter McMenu, who was chairman of Western region, but McMenu is really an Ashanti product. Just that he did president. Is being told by everyone that whether NDC can win the next election or not, a huge chunk does not depend on MPP. It depends on how the NDC is successful in government. If the NDC is successful in government, and the president who is successful as the NDC president cannot run again, then the president's principal partner for this successful NDC government is the vice president. Why are you looking for a candidate outside the principal partner for this successful NDC government? Is the vice president. Why are you looking for a candidate outside the vice president if you want the NDC to get a straight two-term? The vice president, if you want the NDC to get a straight two-term. It is the vice president. She is the candidate. So Professor Jenano Pokwajiman is also being thought about as a potential. And then you have Alexander Segbefia. Their dancing, their bobobo, their geometry, their environment, their forest. Volta region has delivered to NDC everything that it has. Nothing left. But until now, since Rawlings, you cannot really call Rawlings a Voltarian in that context. Yes, his mother is Voltarian, but Rawlings is a Ga or an Obroni, half caste or something like that. So Rawlings is there. Kojochi Kata is there. But in terms of a Voltarian, qua-Voltarian, leading the NDC, it hasn't happened. Alexander Segbefia and his supporters fancy him as being the 24-hour economy. Is the Pudong guy. I'll come back to him during the campaign. I'll come back to him. Don't worry, I'll come back to him. Now Black Rasta is taking over, but he's there. Pudong, I'll come back to him. 24-hour economy, we haven't heard it. Alexander Segbefia is the one to frustration of Johnson Asiedu Nketia. It's not going to be a walk in the park for him. He may still be able to win, but it's not going to be a walk in the park for him. I've heard people talking about Chief of Staff, Julius Debra. Do you have him somewhere? they'll get it for me very quickly. I've heard people talking about Julius. I can't talk about Julius Debra when I have another person's photograph here. All right, so once it gets me Julius Debra's photograph, so I can do something proper on it, then they can edit all this part out. Yes. So I've heard people talk about Julius Debra, but I've also heard in there that as for Julius Debra, he has one ambition, that John Mahama succeeds. So he's not yet there in the presidential candidate. No, he's not. You know, he's a cadre from Eastern region, very, very strong cadre, very, very strong one. And that he has immersed himself into the John Mahama agenda. That when in 2017, he Atoforsen, Alexander Febefia will carry the North, Oti and Volta. Whoever can secure Ashanti, big, that person will push himself through to lead the NDC. But it's very early days. Too early for us to spend too much time on, but we are beginning little by little, poco a poco. We are getting there. God give us life, and we'll see what happens eventually. Let's go to text messages, and we'll be enjoying our weekend very soon and running off. Arsenal, can you change and give me some football pictures? So let me talk about Arsenal before I go on to the text messages. Do you have any? Okay, it looks like we didn't prepare for Arsenal because we're all demoralized after the defeat, so we didn't prepare for it. Who do I start with the final round of text messages? Anzaba, what are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. I mean it. From Moses, he says, Brother Paul, as far as the NDC next leader selection goes, unless death or illness, Julius Debra is likely to take over with advice to be taken from the Volta region. President Mahama is going to vouch for him at all costs. From Ebenezer, he says, lastly from Paul.
All right, so Alhaj Bob CD says, Paul, assalamu alaikum. The 120 days of John Mahama is nothing but a scam and empty praises, Paul. The cement we buy at 80 or 85 Ghana cedis in January. Galamsey is now a legal business because all the NDC top hierarchy are involved in Galamsey underground. Paul, the price of Kinke is now 5 or 10 Ghana cedis. Dumso has humbled John Jinapo, and now on the hideout, the government is still charging COVID levy. They condemned. Cost of living is very high. The president didn't talk about unemployment because he engages in sacking those who are employed. Electricity and water tariffs have shot up. Paul, the NDC is just noisemakers in the market, but little achievements. I will score the president 3 out of 10. Now, Peter Abdul Khalik says, there is a great difference in party politics and management of the state, a clear and consistent practice in governance, but due to the... Now see how the NDC, the Attorney General, biased media stations are now worried with the current revelations from Mr. Adu Boahene. The true meaning of democracy and governance is above the understanding of a lot of the NDC footlooters who follow blindly to every noise being put out there. We must grow up from such. What do you have for us, Antoinette?
Yes, so it seems people are still making more suggestions for the NDC presidential candidate. Moses Champon, for example, says that it's told that one of the two men who financed President Mahama's second term is Julius Debra. Isaac Owusu-Boateng is asking Paul if he's forgotten about Professor Joshua Alabi, as he has not had any position in this government. He thinks that the NDC will surprise us by presenting Professor. All these people are vouching, then where would Haruna Idrisu fall? Bilkin says we need an Ibrahim Tero kind of leader in Ghana. Shadrach Imbelam says, but Atuforsen is a serious man. I thought they are going to patch off. Otherwise, the NDC party is going to be something. Say, Paul, you know this NDC cannot do it as we, the NPP, do. And lastly, Prince Casimiro Opoku also seems to be vouching highly for Haruna Idrisu to be the next NDC presidential